Welcome students. Let's start with the applied component practical, that is the study of abiotic stresses on plants. So the aim of our study uh, study the aim of the experiment is to study the effect of different abiotic stresses on plant. So before starting with the experiment, let's learn about the abiotic stresses, which different abiotic stresses are there that plants have to plants undergo. So firstly, stress. uh, so the abiotic stress are the negative impacts of the non-living factors on the living organisms on a specific in a specific environment. So uh, your abiotic stresses would include all your all the other factors apart from the plant, apart from the pest infestation, etc., to the plant agriculture in the farms. So they will be including stresses such as the temperature around the plant, the salinity of the soil, and other humidity, etc., will be studied under the abiotic stresses. These are the non-living factors, but still they are going to affect the plant. So let us study them. And why do we need to study abiotic stresses right now? Is because of the changing environment. There's a lot of threat to the food security, since we are undergoing a climate change. The temperatures are rising. This is not only affecting our health, it is also affecting the plant productivity, the yield of the plant, etc. So let's see one by one how different stresses are going to affect our plant for agricultural or other purposes. So let's start with temperature stress. So temperature stress is the stress that will be caused because of the to the plants because of either high temperatures or because of the low temperatures. So there can be two types of stress induced by temperature. So let's study one by one what are the problems that plant would face. So firstly, uh, the major type of plants which are going to affect because of the temperature stress are the terrestrial or the mesophytic plants. So mesophytic or the terrestrial uh, plants or going in the temperate environment, which environment is not neither too wet neither too dry. So they have a very narrow range of optimal growth. It means they they can only uh, survive the temperature fluctuations of around 10 degrees Celsius. If their optimal growth is at around 27 or 28 degrees Celsius, they can only survive from 22 degrees Celsius to highest to 32 degrees Celsius. So this is the narrow range of their survival or optimal growth and development. If the temperatures rise above 30 to 34, or the temperature fall by 20, 19, etc., they have to they suffer temperature fluctuation and they undergo stress. So that when plants suffer plants are exposed to temperatures like 45 degrees Celsius or even higher temperatures, that is 55 degrees Celsius, that affects the plants a lot. And this mainly affects the cells which are metabolizing continuously, but cells which are not in the metabolic states, or the tissues which are not in the metabolic states, such as the seeds and pollens, however, can survive this temperature, but the cells which are in the metabolic state cannot survive this temperature. So the temperature, so the higher temperatures of around 45 degrees, 55 degrees can affect plants, leaf of the plants and the xylem and the phloem of the plants, etc. uh, so that is why temperature is very higher temperatures or even the lower temperatures are harmful. Let's see how lower temperatures going to be harmful. So when the temperatures are low, they cause freezing, and freezing can disrupt the cell membrane and cause cell damage. So let's see how temperature stress is going to affect temperature stress is going to affect, or the temperature, how temperature is going to affect the cell membranes and the enzymes of the cell. So as we all know that the cell membrane would be made up of lipid bilayer, which in the lipid bilayer they also have the proteins and sterols embedded in them. So what happens is when there is excessive temperature, the H plus hydrogen proton ATPase pump, the carriers, the channel forming proteins, etc. are their activity is disrupted, because if imagine if the temperature is around 45 degrees Celsius, so what is going to happen when there is when there is seasons like summers, because of the continuous exposure to sun, the temperature can rise within the leaf, within the plant, the temperatures can rise by 45 degrees Celsius. So imagine our body is working at imagine how you feel in the summers, and if you are said to run in that in the hot sun, in the same way the plants must be suffering uh, at higher temperatures. The sun is very high, and during the summers, etc., and the temperatures, because of the metabolic reaction, metabolism that is carried out in the sun by the plant, the temperatures rise up to 45 degrees within the cells itself. You may not feel that the temperature is around 45 degrees in the outer environment, but however in the cell, in the plant itself, the temperature is very high, um, causing the proteins and the pumps, etc., to dysfunction. So also the higher temperature is going to change the fluidity of the membrane lipid. So the lipid bilayer fluidity would change because of the higher temperatures, the hydrogen bonds, the electrostatic interaction forces between the different polar groups of the protein and aqueous phase of the membrane, etc. Then there can be leakage of the ions. Higher temperature can lead to change in the three-dimensional structure of the protein. The correct protein structure would get disrupted, hence the function of the protein would be disrupted. Hence, if we see, then temperature is the membrane. If there is a there is no correct functioning of the membrane, it is finally going to lead to disruption in the cell reactions, and finally leading to stress and death of the cell. Then the temperature stress can also inhibit photosynthesis. So obviously plant need photosynthesis to survive, right? But when there can be higher temperatures, there it causes the photosynthesis rather to get inhibit. So let's see how it gets inhibited. So as we know, all the photosynthesis also occurs because of the different enzymes in the chloroplast, such as the enzymes Rubisco activase, NADP, G3P dehydrogenase, and PEP carboxylase. So all these enzymes also are very unstable at higher temperatures. So if you are, the same way I explained you, if you are given if you are said to run in hot sun in during the summers, what are you going to suffer from? In the same way, this happens to the plants. The they lose their activity, they begin to denature, hence the photosynthesis also will get stopped. and that was going to lead to heat injuries to the plant. Also, the energy transfer mechanism are going to get disrupted during the higher heat, because of the high heat. And uh, the main reason because by why the plant undergoes a lot of stress is during higher temperatures there is an imbalance between the photosynthesis that plant carries out and the respiration. So when the plant is work plant's balance of the photosynthesis and respiration is correct, then the plant is working fine. It has no it will be function, it's all the functions of the plants are going fine. But when this balance is disrupted, it becomes imbalanced, then this causes deleterious high temperatures and causes the stress to the plant. So this is majorly problem for the plants which are exposed to a lot of sun than the plants which are grown in the shade. The reduced photosynthesis may result in stress induced stomatal closure, and when there is stomatal closure, there will be no way of the plant. Stomatal closure is stomata closing and opening is like, uh, you can compare it with sweating for us. So because of the sweat that we when you run, there's a lot of sweat. So the sweat is going to help to reduce the temperature within your body. The same way stomatal closure, the stomatal opening is going to reduce the temperature within the plant. But when there is stomatal closure, imagine if you are not able to sweat, then the heat is going to get trapped within the plant and causing more and more heat damage to the plant and reducing the leaf canopy area. What do you mean by leaf canopy area? So the coverage of leaves, how vast the wide the leaves can spread over a area, that is the leaf canopy area, etc., can be getting disrupted. Then the next problem because of the temperature is, we saw the above two problems, that is membrane damage and photosynthesis inhibition, that is majorly occurring because of higher temperatures. So let's see what happens during the lower temperatures. That means when when there are freezing temperatures around uh, 5 degrees, 4 degrees, these at these temperatures the plant would get highly affected. Not It's not safe for the plant to be in the temperature like these. The same way, imagine you are sent to a very cold area in the night. Imagine you walking on the roads in the city of Delhi without any sweater or any heat protected clothes. So the same way this is going to affect, um, the temperature is going to affect plants. So let's see what happens during the freezing temperatures, very cold temperatures. There is formation of ice within the cell as well as outside of the cell, that is intracellular ice formation and as well as extracellular ice formation. So the cells, obviously the cell would be having water content, and because there is water and also the temperature is freezing, so what will happen to the water in that temperature? It is obviously going to get freezed. So there is formation of intracellular within the the water in the cytoplasm can get freezed, ice is formed. So what happens is, when there is ice crystals formation within the cell, you have different cell organelles. They have their own membranes. So there is so the because of ice crystal, there these organelles get the membrane of the organelles is broke, gets a lot of shear stress. That is they like, it's like a needle poking to a membrane. So there is this needle is going to obviously disrupt the membrane and cause the cell organelle to stop functioning. Or when there is extracellular ice crystal formation, mm, this also causes physical damage, and they cause problems such as cellular dehydrogenation, cellular dehydration. That is, all the content from the cells would come out. Imagine what is going to happen is the there are two types of water present in the plant. Means the some of the water would be present in the cytoplasms of the cells, and some water would be present in the outer areas of the cell apart from the cytoplasm. uh, 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 Out of the cytoplasm, that is, uh, in the areas such as the apoplast, the symplast, the outside the cell wall, etc. At these places also water would be some or other, some in some amount or other amount, less or more amount, the water was going to be present in the symplast, apoplast, etc. So when water in those areas freeze, so what will the cytoplasm think? There is imbalance of water. I have more water, and the membranes outside me don't have water, so I have to send my water out. So it will start to send its water out, causing the cellular dehydration. So that is going to affect the plant. So what is apoplast? Let's see it. Let's see about apoplast. Apoplast is this particular yellow colored area, and the symplast is the outer area apart from the apoplast. So let's see how it is going to affect apoplast and symplast. So because of the formation of ice, the water potential of the apoplast is going to, that is the potential energy of the water within the apoplast, is going to reduce, and that is going to affect the there is a imbalance of the energy. The water potential in the apoplast is going to reduce, and the water potential in the symplast is going to increase. So the water is going to move from the symplast to the apoplast, causing the cells to dehydrate. And this actually does not affect the cells which are dehydrated cells, such as the seeds and the pollens, but this definitely affects the cells which are metabolically active, such as the xylem, the leaves of the cells of xylem, and the leaf, etc. So ice usually forms first in the intercellular spaces. What is the process of freezing in the plants? That is, the in the intercellular spaces, the ice would be formed in the xylem vessel also. The xylem vessel is the vessel which is going to transport water, while the phloem vessel is the vessel that is going to that is going to carry out transport the food. So the xylem is very the xylem would be the very first one to get crystallized, because the water content would be obviously more in the xylem, and this ice which is formed, ice formation is quickly propagated. So what is this formation of ice harmful to plants? No, actually ice formation is not that harmful to plants. If you warm the plants, then the formation of ice is reduced and the plant can still survive. But if this for freezing cell freezing etc happens for a quite a lot of time, then uh, then this can lead to the imbalance of the membranes, excessive dehydration, and hence in the finally leading to a lot of stress and maybe death of the plant. So for to cope up with this, plants in the very plants that are grown in very cold environments, they are grown in places such as the greenhouse, which is a uh, insulated room where you can grow the plants, or heaters are placed to heat up the surrounding and stop the cells from freezing. So we will see the next abiotic stressor in the next videos.